Toyota is hoping to grab the attention of compact sports sedan enthusiasts, but they're not doing it with more horsepower. They're doing it with something called the Corolla Apex Edition. Now, this thing isn't as exciting as it should be, but it definitely looks the part. Now, Toyota has made some minor tweaks to make this thing handle better, but honestly, you can't really tell. It does handle a little bit better, but not by that much. Besides the cooler looks and the minor tweaks, Toyota will only be making 6,000 units of the Corolla Apex, of which 120 units will only come with the 6-speed manual. So this one that I'm testing here is a little bit more special than the other 6,000 units. Let's take a closer look at the 2021 Toyota Corolla Apex Edition, and then I'll give you my opinion on what I think about it. But before I do, make sure you hit subscribe, make sure you hit like. All right, let's do this. So what makes this Toyota Corolla so special? Well, let me give you a closer look at what this whole Apex thing is about. So while the Apex Edition doesn't get any increases in horsepower, it still looks pretty badass with this aerodynamic body kit and these really cool bronze accents that you see around the car. On the front, you have bronze accents on the front spoiler, the fog light covers. I really like the front end of this car. You also have bronze accents on the side moldings and the rear diffuser. And you also have a spoiler in the back, which will cost you an extra $375. And to look a little bit sportier, the Corolla Apex also gets blacked out Toyota badging on the front. You also have a really cool blacked out Apex badging on the back, along with the Corolla nameplate also in black. That's pretty cool. And then you have these really stylish and really cool 18-inch gloss black wheels, which Toyota says are designed to help with brake cooling and reduce the weight of the Corolla by 2.2 pounds per wheel. Moving inside, the bronze theme is carried out throughout the cabin with bronze stitching, and I wish it was on the dash. They don't have it there, but they have it on the armrest, they have it on the gear shift, and they have it on the door panels, and very, very faint in the seats as well. So yeah, there's not any extra horsepower, but Toyota did make some tweaks. They upgraded the stabilizer bar spring rates and coil spring rates that lowered the Corolla by 0.6 inches. Last but not least, the Apex Edition gets a sport-tuned exhaust, and while you can't hear it on the inside, it sounds pretty nice on the outside. Let's take a listen. Now let's talk about the pricing details. You can get the Apex Edition in either a Corolla SE or a Corolla XSE. The SE Apex starts at $25,070. The XSE Apex Edition starts at $28,210. As tested here, you're looking at right over $26,000. Not much to talk about when it comes to power and performance. Power comes from a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine making 169 horsepower. And again, Toyota will only be making 6,000 units of the Apex Edition, 120 of which will only be available with the 6-speed manual transmission. Also, keep in mind, if you want the 6-speed manual transmission, you can only get it in the SE Apex. You cannot get it in the XSE Apex, which is only available with the CVT transmission. So yeah, that means the Toyota Corolla Apex is not fast by any means. 0 to 60 comes in at 7.9 or 8 seconds flat, and the top speed comes in at 117 miles an hour. I wish they would make this thing go a lot faster. When it comes to fuel economy, the Apex with the 6-speed manual averages 28 city and 35 highway. You have a 13.2 gallon tank capacity. I'm averaging, after a few days of driving, a total of 27.1 miles a gallon. Not bad. Now, I've already shown you a lot of the exterior earlier on in this review, but there are a few other things that I want to point out. I absolutely love the front end design of the Apex Edition right here. It looks really tough. What's interesting is that the SE and the XSE all have a more aggressive front end than the rest of the Corolla lineup. If you head over to Toyota's website and put all the Corollas side by side, you'll notice that the SE and the XSE have a slightly reshaped front grille, and the logo sits on the hood while the rest of the Corolla lineup has it right in the grille. Let's talk about colors really quick. My test model here has blacked out everything. It's called Black Sand Pearl, and then the Corolla Apex is also available in cement and super white, but both of those have a black sand pearl roof. Next up, I want to take a second and appreciate the design of the headlamps on the new Corolla. I really like them quite a bit. These here are the LED headlamps with daytime running lights, and the taillights are not that bad. Here they are with the indicators on. So yeah, overall, this thing looks pretty cool. Toyota says that the Corolla Apex was made for driving enthusiasts looking for a head-turning sports sedan, and honestly, I think they've done it. Reason being, while I was spending time with the Corolla Apex, I parked it at a grocery store parking lot, and I noticed 3 people do a double take and look at this like, whoa, this is pretty cool, and some even snapped a picture. Let's take a quick look at the cargo capacity before moving on. You have a button right here under the blacked out Toyota logo to pop the trunk, and you have about over 13 cubic feet. Not a lot of room, but I guess it's good enough for this segment. Let's take a seat inside the Corolla Apex and take a closer look at the interior because it is pretty nice. I've already shown you some of the interior earlier on, but there are a few other things that I want to point out. First of all, this is a very, very comfortable place to be. The seats on the SE Apex here are cloth seats, and they feel insanely comfortable. However, if you fancy fake leather and heated seats, you will have to go for the XSE Corolla Apex. Let's talk about quality really quick. Toyota is known for having great quality, and the Corolla here does not disappoint. You have soft touch here, soft touch here, soft touch on the dash. The steering is really nice, soft touch above the steering, and you have soft touch door panels, but the only thing is this hard plastic area here. What happened here? I don't know. Let's check out the rear legroom before moving on. You have 34.8 inches of rear legroom. I'm about 6 foot tall. That's my seating position. I sit further back than the normal human being, but it's not terrible in here. You have a nice little storage area. There's my bottle of St. Pellegrino. Let's talk about tech really quick, starting with the gauge cluster. I do have this in accessory mode. That's why all the check engine lights are on. It's pretty standard. There's nothing crazy going on here. You have a little screen that gives you some information. But in a world where the Hyundai Elantra is mimicking MBUX infotainment from Mercedes-Benz, I expect a little bit more. So all Toyota Corolla trims do come with a touchscreen display. The lower end models have a 7-inch, the higher end models have an 8-inch touchscreen display like the one here. It's pretty nice, pretty standard, nothing too crazy. You do have Apple CarPlay, you do have Android Auto, you do have Alexa, and you have Sirius XM with 3-month free trial. But yeah, overall, this is pretty basic, not much going on here. The cool thing is that you will get in here and learn it pretty quick. The learning curve isn't that bad. If you spend 5 minutes with it, it'll be pretty easy and you can be on your way. The navigation app is not installed. Damn. So before I tell you how it is to drive the Corolla Apex Edition, let me point out a few random things that I love to show all of you. You have 4 cup holders, 2 in the front, and then you have 2 in the back for rear passengers. Here are the keys of the Toyota Corolla Apex. Pretty standard, nothing too exciting. I wish they did have an Apex badge back here. That would have been cool. Let's hear the door open and close sound from the outside. And from the inside, I have the key in my pocket. That's why it's beeping. From the inside, pretty solid, actually. Not bad. I actually thought it would be not that good. Let's hear the horn sound of the 2021 Toyota Corolla Apex. I'm not expecting much at all. And yep, I was absolutely right. Not scaring anybody. And now that I've given you a tour of the 2021 Toyota Corolla Apex Edition, let me give you my opinion on what I think about this expensive, not so sporty Corolla, but it looks really cool. Let's get to it. So is the Corolla Apex vastly different than other Corollas? Not really. Honestly, it feels like another ordinary compact sedan. Don't get me wrong, I love the Corolla, and I especially love the Corolla hatchback. And when I recently test drove the Toyota RAV4 Prime, I kept thinking how that setup in the Corolla would be freaking awesome. Not to mention, the RAV4 Prime is the second fastest model that Toyota makes after the Supra, which is technically made by BMW. So the RAV4 Prime is the fastest Toyota that they make. All jokes aside, how fun would it be to have the RAV4 Prime set up in a Toyota Corolla hatchback, or even in the Toyota Corolla Apex or the Nightshade Edition? That would really give the Toyota some enthusiast love. But yeah, this thing looks freaking awesome, but it fails to translate that excitement behind the steering wheel. I will say though, that the 6-speed manual is one of the easiest to ever drive. Toyota calls this the 6IMT, which stands for Intelligent Manual Transmission. Basically, it has rev matching, so it will automatically adjust the engine revs when you're shifting gears, and it will have a very smooth shift, making you feel like an absolute pro. So would I recommend buying the Toyota Corolla Apex Edition? Honestly, this thing is pretty expensive. There are a lot of better options out there, including the Honda Civic Si. You have a great lineup of Hyundai Elantra N-Line. There's so many other things in this price range that you can get. But I would say if you're a real Toyota Corolla enthusiast and you love Toyota's reliability and you want something that looks cool, this is a good option. Either way, thanks for watching. I'll see you next week. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you follow me on Instagram and on TikTok at Omar Drives. Hit that subscribe button right now. Come on, please. 99% of you watching are not subscribed. So subscribe and share my channel with your friends. I'll see you next week. Take care. Peace. I'm a downshift because this rev matches and it makes me feel awesome. Put a 4th. Ooh, look at me. No bumps. Man, I can shift like a true pro. Gonna hit that Apex hard.